I believe that in every internal affairs investigation, except for this one, I believe the person who did the investigation sat in that chair. I think it's an older guy who's been here 30 plus years or something that I always remember seeing. I can't remember his name. Is that who it was? Mm-hmm. And it got to the point where I thought that maybe internal affairs meant we want to fire this guy. Chief, go out there and find something and come back till we can. Now, this is the only time that I can recall that the person who did the investigation wasn't in that chair. Now, I may be wrong, but I believe it's the only time since I've been here. The other thing is that going back, as relates to the Bill of Rights for firemen and policemen, it used to confuse me to death when I first got on this mission, because they would always refer to one of the reasons for firing was because of this that happened, and he or she is a sworn police officer. And then you had this merit system. So I know that they're aware of it because they confused the hell out of me for 2 years. So I know it's there. Okay? And we've had it in our deliberations, and I've asked questions about it because I thought it was a two-pronged thing that you were doing at the people that they were talking about. But now all of a sudden it disappeared. So that also, I'm really concerned because this is a very large corporation, and we don't have a policy that covers messing around. I mean, and then you go and try and manufacture something? That's very disturbing to me. So I don't know how in the world I'm going to vote to uphold something that's based on no policy and different and varying from the procedures that I've become accustomed to when there's an internal affairs investigation. I don't know how I'm going to vote to oppose something that's a result of this investigation. Because to me, you haven't proved anything, except that yes, this person went out and did something, but there's no policy for it. And you firing on these catch-all policies, the hell I don't even work for you and I'd be guilty of it. So it really doesn't make that's no disrespect to you, because I think you just got thrown into the fire. I mean, they handed this off to you and told you to run with it, and you did the best you could. And there's really no disrespect to you, because I've gained respect for you over the years, because you've been here a lot of times. And you're always right to the point, and you know exactly what you're talking about. But this time, I just don't understand a lot of stuff, so I can't vote to agree with you on the firing, and especially since Captain Sweat, who in my mind should be the person disciplining anyway, couldn't even say that he would fire for what's happened. So I don't know how I'm going to vote to oppose this. I'm really struggling with this. I understand that looking at what's here and the way that the county attorney has phrased it, and I understand our position. I understand we're supposed to look at the facts and determine whether or not they presented a case that would end in firing this person. I understand all of that. In my mind, I can't get there because it was bad from the beginning. I mean, they had a case, and I think I brought this up yesterday. How can you send a letter of intent, reopen a case, and then fire somebody and don't start all over again? It just makes no sense. It makes no sense. And you've even got to change the guard. The person who started it is not here. Nobody called him. He's still with the county. Nobody called him. The person who did the investigation is not here. I can't come to a conclusion with that.
Well, we're going to have a chance to talk about it individually, and I understand what you're saying, and I agree with the majority of it. I mentioned at one point we're going to follow policy from time to time. What we're charged with doing is going through these things one at a time and putting forth our opinion whether or not the county is proving their individuals,
understand that.
not to place ourselves, whether we would have done this, but whether they were justified in doing that. And then at the end of the day, we'll vote on each one of these individually, and then we have an opportunity to recommend whether or not the county manager follows through with the whole determination, or whether we want to substitute some other suggestion.
I am not condoning an extramarital affair. That's a moral thing. I mean, you're supposed to leave that at home when you come to work anyway. I mean, but you are supposed to follow the policies of the organization. And I think that that's what we're here to figure out. But all I'm saying is that the policies that this man was terminated under, in my opinion, we fabricate. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I agree with your thought process there. I think we're going to have a chance to describe each one individually. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just one policy. So, anything else, any other thoughts before we delve into that?
Just that I kind of feel it was trying to hold Captain Gardner to a standard that higher standard than a former president of the United States.
Let me see if I can figure out which one
Which one
that
that
is.
I did. And when he was censured for perjury. Was not censured for his act. He was censured for perjury. And nobody's accused Captain Gardner of perjury. So, but it sure feels like that's what's happening. I mean, I think he's probably a fine man, but I don't think we should hold him to a higher standard than the president and that the Congress did.
It sounds like we're all about on the same mindset that, you know, there have been some trespasses, and something needs to be done about it. But I think all of us are in agreement that it doesn't need to be a termination.
We can go through these
Well-
different lists right here and handle those, and then yea or nay, or sustain or no, and then at the end, either not sustain the dismissal, and then they'll go back and they'll do what they feel is appropriate.
That's what I wanted, that's what I'm gonna do, and I guess back here somewhere. That's what I wanna do. Let's go ahead and start doing that, unless we have other general remarks. And again, I'll certainly entertain those after the vote. Anybody, anything else comes to mind? Well, with respect to section 86-540, subsection 5, violation of any reasonable or official order, we will carry out lawful and reasonable directions given by the supervisor. Other acts of insubordination, phone records. How do we feel about that?
I think that what you're talking about there is the phone records, and I'm not convinced of either side that it's legal that he has to turn them over. And I actually heard from both sides that they're not very sure, and they were sure that you shouldn't. So I can't sustain that, because I believe that your personal records are your personal records. That's the way I feel about it. You know, they can debate the law, and I didn't hear anything that made me think that he needed to give those up.
As we go through these, you're welcome to make a motion at any time, and I'll just open it or continue the discussion until we reach a point where we want to vote on it. Because I have something I want to add to that.
Okay, well, you want me to put a motion on them?
If you're able to do so.
I move that we do not sustain section 86-453, number 5.
Second. Any further discussion on this? I would like to say again, it points out to me some sort of a policy that needs to be developed and implemented. If you don't want people to turn over their records, then don't let them use those phones for business, for county business. I don't know how you'd enforce that. Everybody carries a cell phone. But I'm gonna let them figure out. That's not why we're here. But I would point that out. I think we have a policy issue there that needs to be addressed, and I would agree with your motion. Any discussion on this?
I feel like it's an unreasonable search. When I asked Mr. Pozo this morning, I was told, given one piece of case law, which I haven't had the opportunity to read the brief on, and it sure feels, it feels to me like an unreasonable search. I would have to agree with Whit's motion.
I'm retired and I don't have a lot on my cell phone. I've got a few phone numbers. I don't use them. But I don't want the government or anybody else coming and asking for my phone and wants to know what's on it. I agree that we shouldn't uphold this one.
Yeah, I don't even like Google knowing where I'm at.
Yeah.
Any further discussion on that one? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Same section, subsection 8, other conduct that interferes with effective job performance or has an adverse effect on the efficiency of county service.
I haven't seen anything that said that he was ineffective in his job performance. I'm sorry, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but it was.
Even the county admits he's been exemplary.
So I don't know how we got there.
Well, the only thing I would add to that would be the issue of not reporting the gun issue. And again, there's not a clear policy. It's discretionary.
I mean, he should have been told that he should have used better judgment, but I don't think that interferes with anything that the county was going to do. I'm sorry. Because they weren't going to do anything, they didn't know.
Yeah, their policy was to do nothing, close your eyes and make it go away.
If you do this or don't do this, we're going to fire you. Oops, we just did.
Yeah.
I don't